What is going on, my YouTube gang? My YouTube family. Um, what's going on, people? It's boy Ash back at it again with another video for y'all. Uh, so today we're gonna be looking at how Nike ruined the NFL jerseys. Um, I don't know. I want to watch it. I'm bored. So you know what I'm saying. I'm bored on a Saturday. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Run my intro.
Ash, you did it again.
Alright, y'all. Welcome to how Nike's obsession with storytelling ruined NFL jerseys. Alright. I really started paying attention to the NFL around like 2015, but kind of fell off until kind of around 2023. I want to say. Wow. So I don't know. Sure. So we'll look and see, man.
The first football jersey I ever owned was a U-size Indianapolis Colts Peyton Manning jersey in that beautiful blue and white. I loved wearing that thing. Even at that age, I just knew that it looked good. The blue contrasted with the sharp white lines, and back when fan jerseys were still sold in that mesh jersey style, I could just wear that thing over and over again. Putting that jersey on made me feel good. Even growing up in Illinois, and especially during that 2006 season when the fateful Super Bowl matchup between the Colts and the Bears took place. Now that I'm out of my youth and have transitioned to becoming a Bears fan in my adulthood, I was even more thrilled when I found a vintage Caleb Haney Bears jersey while my wife and I were vintage shopping during our honeymoon in Italy. Wearing NFL jerseys for everyday outfits has sort of made a resurgence. Using an NFL jersey as a statement piece can make for a cool fit, but most of these people aren't even a fan of the team that they're representing, and probably most of them don't even watch football. And when
I ain't gonna lie. That could be true. But when I blow up off this YouTube shit, bro, I'm gonna have me some jerseys. Are they gonna be signed? I don't know. We'll see. But, God willing, it's gonna happen, bro.
when you start to examine a lot of these fits, you'll quickly notice that most, if not all, of these jerseys are vintage.
That's crazy.
About the allure of these jerseys are vintage. There's something about the allure of wearing a vintage jersey and just vintage clothes in general. It may be the years of wear that it received before it even reached your closet, the random players that you come across when you pick it off the rack, or sometimes it's just having a jersey that's more plain and simple than what's out there today. And the aesthetic of wearing a vintage NFL jersey compared to a modern NFL jersey bought off Fanatics could not be more drastically different. The fit, the materials, the color, really just everything about it. And above all else, I think it's just because modern NFL jerseys have gotten plain worse. As football fans, we've lived through some dismal times for NFL jerseys. We've gone through the disgusting throwbacks, the terrible color combinations, and the Grey Poupon. And I think the true catalyst for the downturn in overall jersey aesthetic comes from the producer themselves, Nike. Nike is an institution in all of sports, and their campaigns are iconic. And one thing that Nike has gotten very good at over the years is their copywriting and especially their storytelling. Throughout their history in sports, Nike has created some of the most famous advertising campaigns across all of the major sports that brands wish they could replicate. Their website is filled with various stories about their sponsored athletes, culture, innovation, and some of the most influential moments in sports history that their brand has been a part of just by having a swoosh featured in a picture.
I ain't gonna lie. Nike do be doing that. They do be doing a whole bunch of like inspirational shit. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is they also let some top athletes slip away. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Shit. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't think Curry is signed to Nike. I don't think Ant is signed to Nike. Shea ain't signed to Nike. Julius Randle got a Skechers deal. You know what I'm saying? And then like Jordan Brand fell off over the years, so it's like it's now like they low key kind of falling off and everything. But since they've been taking over their jerseys and everything, they've been keeping their name and shit, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Kind of crazy, but you know what I mean? Hey, that's what a multi-million-dollar company's going, probably $1 billion company's gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Storytelling is at the heart of Nike as a brand, and it's a crucial component as to why they've seen so much success over the years. Rather than just selling pieces of fabric or shoes manufactured in Asia, they sell emotion. And selling to consumers in this day and age is a tough assignment. So if you have a proficiency in an area like storytelling that separates you from the crowd, you're going to continue to use that as a weapon. However, I think that it's Nike's ingrained desire for storytelling is what set NFL jersey design behind for so many years starting in 2012. After Nike was awarded the contract in 2010, replacing Reebok as the NFL's official uniform provider, we quickly saw what to expect from Nike when they did their uniform unveiling event in Brooklyn, New York on April 3rd, 2012. As representatives from each of the NFL franchises awkwardly lined up showing off their team's newest threads, we were introduced into the next era for our favorite team's jerseys. Well, actually most of the jerseys debuted in 2012 are more or less the same as the previous year, with just some minor tweaks to the collar and overall changes to the actual build of the jersey. There was, however, one large, bright exception that foreshadowed what was in store for Nike NFL jerseys in the coming years. And that was from the Seattle Seahawks. Compared to the jersey from last year, the new Nike Seahawks uniform looked radically different. A different shade of blue, new decals on the jersey and the pants, and of course, the neon. And they also included something that I personally hate, is when Nike includes the team name on a jersey in an area that's like not right above the numbers. Like, who needs this little thing? I mean, why isn't it centered? Why is it there? And of course, none of these elements that were included on this new jersey were just there by happenstance. Nike wrote of the Seahawks' new uniform by saying, "The new uniform colors are rooted in Seattle's own environmental hues. The deep blue of the ocean water that tucks into the harbor near downtown and the Seahawks Stadium. The new color addition called Action Green represents the green of the ubiquitous trees and ferns and moss, literally covering the Pacific Northwest landscape."
I ain't never been to Seattle, but if that's what it's like in Seattle, that's cool. But like, no nigga was getting that shit from the fucking jerseys. I ain't gonna hold you. No nigga was looking at the jerseys and going, man, that deep blue really remind me of the harbor in Seattle, bro. What? I always wonder why the fuck them niggas had that nasty ass green on. I always did personally, but it's whatever. That's some
How
crazy
poetic.
shit.
These jerseys are just accepted now. And in my opinion, that's because the Seahawks had great success in these uniforms shortly after its introduction. This was just like the Broncos in '97 when they introduced their brand new Nike uniforms and ended up winning the Super Bowl in the following 2 seasons. And there was also a lot of conspiracy around the side paneling of the Broncos' new uniforms, which were supposed to be subliminal Nike swooshes, which led Woody Page of the Denver Post to write, "Nike has played us for fools and won." Nike graphic artists knew exactly what they were doing, and they must believe Denver and the Broncos were too stupid to understand the secret of the design until it was too late. Team owner Pat Bowlen doesn't
Who the fuck was looking at the Denver Broncos and was like, "Oh yeah, the side of the uniform does not look like a Nike swoosh"? Who the fuck was saying that? Dead ass. I'm just wondering. Like this is like if this is like really that's really fuck. Hold up. If this is really shit that like niggas have been talking about and I didn't know about, that's wild. Like I didn't know like niggas was really looking at the stories behind NFL jerseys. You know what I mean? I never knew that.
own the Broncos. Nike does. But for the Seahawks uniform redesign, reviews were poor at the time.
I'm with this nigga.
And that wasn't a good omen for Nike, that their one drastic uniform change was poorly received. But their storytelling hubris continued to get in the way for uniform redesigns in the following years. In 2013, the Jacksonville Jaguars went through a full redesign of their uniforms from top to bottom. And I don't want to go into each of the details that makes these uniforms bad because it's just too painful to really look at. So I'll just let Nike's creative director of football at the time explain their rationale for the changes. The first inspiration for the new uniforms came from the city of Jacksonville itself, the spirit of the American dream that's highly evident there. Secondly was the pioneering spirit of both Bill Bowerman and Jag's new owner Shad Khan. Innovators such as them don't look backwards, they look forwards. And if these two quotes weren't enough, we get more storytelling nonsense.
I ain't gonna lie, this nigga's talking about absolute nonsense. And I'm not gonna lie. When niggas think about Jacksonville, I think them niggas think about either Julio or Young and Ace. But now y'all got Travis Hunter. Do I like the neon blue jerseys? Personally, I do. I'll fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? They look a little too similar to the Dolphins at times, but you know what I mean? It's whatever though.
When Nike says, over the shoulders, there are some accentuated, shiny lines that suggest forward movement. These play again with the idea of attacking from the shadows, coming from the dark into the light. Similar accents can be found on the shorts with small flashes of gold and teal bar that represent the water and the sun of Jacksonville.
What the fuck is this nigga talking
Seriously,
about?
it's not that deep. But on the other hand, I understand why Nike took this approach. Again, emotive storytelling is a part of Nike's DNA. It's what's led them to be so successful. In 1992, in an edition of the Harvard Business Review, Phil Knight was quoted by saying, "Emotional ties. That's what builds long-term relationships with the consumer. And that's what our campaigns are about. Our advertising tries to link consumers to the Nike brand through the emotions of sports and fitness." When Nike first started, they were product-oriented. But now, they're marketing-oriented. And it's not like this hasn't worked really successfully in other sports. Michael Jordan's Air Jordan campaigns are iconic, along with collaborations with Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, and Colin Kaepernick that highlight Nike's ability to evoke emotion.
Colin fucking Kaepernick, bro. Bro, Colin Kaepernick was, hey man, Colin Kaepernick was that nigga, bro. He was that dude. I truly think Colin probably would have won a Super Bowl if you know what I'm saying, they didn't release that nigga. I truly do. But yeah, it's a shame what happened to him, bro.
But sometimes when you're so ingrained in a certain way of doing something, you can begin to get lost. At some point, I wish someone on the Nike football team just took a step back and asked the group, do we really need to be doing all of this? And there are other examples of poor redesigns during this Nike era, including the Buccaneers in 2014.
I ain't gonna lie. I personally thought the Ram uniform with the horns on the helmet was kind of cool, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? This Atlanta one was shit. I ain't gonna hold you. This Buccaneers one was shit. I ain't gonna hold you. This nigga just looks goofy as fuck. But but yeah, I don't personally think the Los Angeles Rams this one was that bad. The helmet was that bad. But I don't like the number design though. It's a little different. Oh shit.
The Rams and the Falcons in 2020, which ushered in the grading era, and the Titans in 2018. And guess what? Each of them had so much story, of course.
Did gaming take over your life? You're not alone, and it might not be.
Bro, I miss my ad blocker.
And that brings us to one of the most uninspiring
What the actual fuck is this, bro? Oh no, this shit look goofy as fuck.
redesigns of them all. In 2015, the Cleveland Browns did a full redesign of their uniforms. Boy, they can really do their thing.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That brown, nasty as shit. The white. This shit nasty. Why do they got stripes in their helmets? What the fuck is this nigga doing? Ew. Why do they do that? Why do that? That shit ass. That
They
shit
did things
ass.
like make sure you knew you were rooting for Cleveland by slapping way too big of a word mark in the middle of the chest. But just in case you were only looking at the jerseys for whatever reason and you needed a reminder, the pants also spelled out Browns down the side. Also, just the fact that they did an orange on orange uniform
That
for the
shit
release just
orange.
doesn't sit right
That
with me.
orange
It
is
just
so
looks
bad.
off. This also brings me to a dreaded era for the NFL uniform, and that's the Color Rush era. The idea behind the Color Rush campaign was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the NFL's first ever TV game shown in color. And now, even though the infamous Color Rush era is technically over, teams still do matching jerseys and pants, so it's not like this concept is totally out of the league. But what is out of the league are some of the worst colors used for these matching.
I ain't gonna lie. So some of the Color Rush jerseys were ass, but some of the Color Rush jerseys were fire. Right. Some niggas be bitching too much. Color Rush jerseys, some of them were ass, but most of them bitches were kind of fire. Okay, we're not gonna sit here and act like the Color Rush jerseys were just fucking bad. You know what I'm saying? Some of them bitches were tough.
Sense. The Color Rush era gave us a ketchup and mustard bowl in 2015 between the Rams and the Buccaneers. We had the Seahawks highlighter era. The Jags
This shit was ass. This shit was ass. The red on red really didn't look that bad, personally, me. But I do think they should have done some Grado. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though. You know what I'm saying? Probably some gray. That neon green with the neon green was straight up a shit ass. I ain't gonna lie. Philly, I don't even know if y'all like those jerseys. Like that really loud green jerseys that they got. I don't know if y'all fuck with those, but hey, those was me. You know what I'm saying? That Jacksonville jersey is ass. Take that shit off immediately.
Jaguars Grey Poupon era. And most infamously, a game where the Bills and the Jets played a game in red and green uniforms, which is a problem because around 13 million Americans are red-green colorblind, so it ended up looking more like a black and white broadcast to these folks than anything. Now, Nike and the NFL did recently announce the Rivalries program, so let's see if this newest campaign will redeem themselves from eras past. The Rivalries program will feature uniforms with designs rooted extensively in local community insights during a single home game against a division rival. The designs have been brought to life by pulling inspiration from the history of each market and the aspects of the community that only that team's city embodies. God, I can't stand corporate speak. Now, it didn't always used to be like this. I mean, before Nike's exclusivity and Reebok before then, the NFL featured a number of companies that would manufacture jerseys, including Russell, Starter.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. The old school Vikings jersey was tough. That's just me though, but them bitches were tough. I would love to get one of them
Adidas,
Randy Moss. I
Puma,
ain't gonna lie.
Wilson, and more. And I know that nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but man, just
Yeah, this jersey. I don't know if Philly fans fuck with it like that. Personally, me, I think it's cool. It's alright. You know what I'm saying? Detroit, I think. I think there's a Detroit. If not, I might be stupid. This shit look cool. I like that.
look at the jerseys back then. I mean, these were iconic. The colors popped. The simplicity made sense. And the numbers, my God, the numbers were just simple and blocky, just like they're supposed to be. And it wasn't just the jerseys, it was all field apparel as well. Starter jackets were all the rage. We saw rappers wearing NFL jerseys, and the jerseys looked more like clothes rather than the uniforms that we're familiar with today. Also, jerseys just used to look better when you actually wore them. I mean, the modern day Nike NFL jerseys just don't look as good on body wearing them as a consumer. For example, take a look at this picture of Paul Rudd and his son at the Super Bowl. Let me know who you think looks better in a Chiefs jersey. And if you didn't say Paul Rudd, but I'm sorry, you're wrong. The jersey that Paul Rudd is wearing, although it looks like a new jersey and is a throwback version, looks like it's actually meant to be worn. Whereas his son's jersey looks like somehow too tight and too loose at the same time. The Nike-fication and oversaturation of technology used in these uniforms have given the jerseys a completely different look. Now, of course, these are meant to improve athlete performance, and the jersey that you order online compared to the jerseys that the players wear on Sundays aren't really even the same thing. But regardless, it's super uncommon nowadays to see someone wearing a Nike NFL jersey just out and about, unless it's game day. And it honestly feels like most of the time that Nike just
I ain't going, sir. Excuse me, sir. That shit's cat. That shit is fucking cat. Um, he said he was from Illinois, you know. So, I don't know what they do in Illinois for real. Besides make drill music and have pizza and shit. Besides that, I don't know what y'all do, but I've seen plenty of niggas wear NFL jerseys, right? Besides game day. I just saw a nigga wearing a jersey today, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Donovan McNabb. That boy was wearing a Donovan McNabb jersey. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out him. But, like, I don't know. It's definitely his opinion and everything. But I think he's giving a lot of these jerseys a lot of shit, though. I ain't gonna hold you.
uses these NFL jerseys and their NFL partnership just to flex their stuff and to prop themselves up as much as possible, talking about all the market research that they do and the focus groups that they put together and the endless hours of testing that they conduct. And as someone who has worked adjacent to design in my career, I can tell you that there's nothing more that design firms like to do than to tell you exactly everything that they're doing. From the fonts used and the meaning behind why those fonts were chosen to talking about the inspirations used for these campaigns, you're not only interacting with Nike when it comes to their imprint on the NFL, you're also interacting with dozens of design firms that also want to feel important and involved. There's seemingly this overwhelming need to feel like you have to do as much as possible to prove your value and stuff as much technology and key messaging in these jerseys just to show off what you can do. But I digress, because for all that I can complain about when it comes to Nike's impact on NFL uniforms, they've actually done quite a bit to course correct in recent years. How did they accomplish this? Well, just like what we see in the movie industry in current day, Nike is just using the mantra of what is old is new again. Some of the most well-received jerseys in the past few seasons have just been throwbacks.
See, see, the Nike can cook, bro. When Nike does little throwback jerseys, them bitches is hard. The little rivalry jerseys they've had so far have been cool. Like you niggas is gonna sit here and tell me you got the Texans red on red with the red chrome helmets was ass. You telling me those uniforms was trash? The Jets, that black and green jersey they had was bad. That purple and gold that the Ravens had was ass. I'm just saying, like I think some of these jerseys was tough. This creamsicle John, that bitch was kind of hard. I can't lie. I don't even fuck with that color, but that shit was kind of hard. Yeah, that Oiler jersey, bro. That bitch was tough, bro. That bitch was tough.
Now, is it revolutionary for the Nike team just to reuse an old jersey design? No.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a web.
This shit is crazy. I'm just getting hit with ad after ad after ad, my nigga.
But who cares? Because we have beautiful jerseys back in our beautiful game. In 2024, we saw 20 out of the 32 teams wear throwback uniforms, and they were honestly fantastic. And many fan bases feel like their team should just make their throwback their main uniform. Some of my personal favorites from this past season are
Broncos throwback uniforms were tough. They were tough, bro. Orange with the blue stripes on them and everything, bro. That bitch was tough.
the Broncos,
That shit
the
was tough.
Patriots. Definitely not the Giants, but also the Giants.
I ain't gonna lie, the Giants little throwback what they with the red with the that shit look crazy. I remember I was watching, I saw my elite neighbors out there. I was like, this shit looks crazy, my nigga. What are they doing?
The Eagles and the Seahawks. What do you see here? These are mainly jerseys that were worn by these teams during the 80s and the 90s, but not the Broncos because they started this mess in the first place. Even beyond just the one-off throwbacks, we see in the cases like the Jets that they fully refresh their uniform design, which obviously takes heavy inspiration from past iterations of their jersey while still thoughtfully incorporating modern elements. There's this tendency to want to change things, especially in 2025 where feedback is at your fingertips and where things cycle so quickly. So you could be tempted to do something that gets people excited now. But in my opinion, the best NFL jerseys have kept their roots in the past with limited changes throughout the years. And if these new jerseys are any indication, I think things could be looking up for Nike NFL uniforms. I would still like to see new jersey designs that will hopefully stand the test of time. I think there are some that have potential, like the Texans, but we also see some that are an automatic no-go for me, like the Ravens' Purple Rising uniforms.
Nicky,
Am I surprised that Nike got off to such a rough start? No, because it takes time to hone in what you want to do,
he's Dicky.
especially when you're working with 32 individual design and brand directions. And I think overall, the impact that Nike has had on the NFL jersey aesthetic has been slightly redeemed by the choices that they've made in recent years. Can all of that be accredited to their genius? No, because some of the best jerseys we have are just simply copies of the designs that we've done in the past. And we still have one of the most boring jerseys across all major sports, only rivaled by the Utah Jazz and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just hope for the sake of us as fans consuming football through this visual medium that we're treated to more good, clean design choices without the need to overly stuff in as much storytelling and meaning as humanly possible. We'll see if Nike can restrain themselves with more helmets being introduced and definitely more campaigns in the future. But I have a message for the team at Nike if they're watching this video for whatever reason. Nike, you're good. You can chill out for a bit. You got crazy job security. 13 more years on your contract is something that most of us could only dream of. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. Just give us good, simply designed jerseys. Please.
He's a dick eater.
I probably can't say that shit on YouTube. He definitely. Wait, I get everybody's got their own opinion. Yeah, that's cool. He don't like certain jerseys. I don't like his opinion. And that's how we gonna rock. It's been your boy Ash. I'm gonna go ahead and get up on out of here. Peace out, y'all.